welcome. My name is Kurt, aka the Vitruvian Gamer, and today, well, I think it's the first time that I do a top 10 video. Woo! Yes. So, alright, awesome. I did a top 50 video a few months ago of my top 50 games of all time, but now I'm doing my personal top 10 gateway games. Now, these aren't the best games, perhaps. Well, they are all good, to be honest, but these are the games that I had the most success with, teaching new players or non-gamers games that they didn't know yet, letting them know this whole world of wonderful modern board games. So this list is very personal, of course, because these are games that I have here, that I own. There are others that are awesome for newcomers, for newbies, for non-gamers to introduce them, but these are my favorites, my most successful ones. Now, this is a top 10, I know, but I'm going to cheat with my number 10 because there is... I couldn't choose. So let's get started with this list with a number 10-ish. So, number 10-ish, well, there are two games I couldn't choose, so we have 11 games. Yes, you get one bonus for free. Alright, buy 10, get one for free. So, both games I want to talk about is Jamaica and Colt Express. Now, why do I take these both together? Why couldn't I choose? I think they have both a little bit of the same feeling. First of all, they both stand out really hard on the table. Of course, you have Colt Express with the three-dimensional train. Colt Express is just awesome. Each player is this bandit who wants to rob the train, and well, there's also a deputy or a sheriff on board of the train. And you do some action selection with cards. So each round you're going to play a number of cards, one by one, and sometimes you have to face them up so people can see what you're going to do, but sometimes also face down so people have no clue what's going to happen. You can play cards to move, you can play cards to shoot, to grab loot from the train like gems or money bags, or you can punch, or you can move the sheriff. Great fun. It is hectic a little bit because sometimes you have no clue what your opponent is going to do, but that's what makes the game fun. The more players, the better. I think it shines with, well, 4 to 6 players. I think it's go up to 6 players, and it's just wonderful, not hard to learn. People have 5 options in their cards. They play and they see what happens. Really fun. Jamaica, on the other hand, also gorgeous game. The artwork is fantastic. Look at the board, for example. The board is just wonderful. The cards that come with the game, they are just magnificent. Look at this. What a beautiful thing. And very easy to learn. So this is a pirate race game in which you try to be the first to get around the island. But of course, that's not that easy, of course. You also want to have money, but you also want to have food and cannons, because each time you end your turn or your movement on a certain square, you either have to feed your crew, or you have to go back a whole, well, pretty much spaces sometimes, or you end your movement on a tile or on a space with another player. Then you have to fight. You can spend cannons to make you stronger, and then you have to roll dice to fight. You have to get money, because money is points. Gold are points also at the end of the game. So depending on how far you gotten by the end of the game, as soon as someone crosses the finish line, you score points for your position on the board, but also for the coins, the gold in your hull. Yes. Now, how does this game work? Going to tell it a little short, not that much. So there are 2 dice. One player, who's the star player, he will roll the 2 dice, and he will choose, for example, 4 and a 2 as a result. He will choose one result for the first action, the morning action, and one for the next action, the evening action. Players have cards in their hand normally, and they will choose one of them, and the morning action, well, will be the action on the left side of the card and the evening action on the right side. So that's the first die will say how many movements in this example he will get to do, and the other number will say how much cannons he will get. Very fun game, really back and forth, shooting, trying to get loot, trying to get treasure, sometimes just going after each other and fighting. Very easy rules, it looks awesome, and it is together with Colt Express my number 10. Okay, so that was the cheating part. So number 9, well, it's one game and one game only. It is a dice game, really fun. I'm talking about Las Vegas. That's my number 9. Now, Las Vegas is a very simple push your luck area control game, maybe, because each player has a certain number of dice in their color, and well, each turn, players roll the dice they haven't used yet, they're gonna roll, and you have 6 casinos in the middle of the board, which are these cardboard pieces, and they're going to choose one of their numbers that they rolled, and they're going to put all of the dice of that number on, well, the casino with the same number. So if they rolled 5 or 5s, they can take all their 5s and put it on this casino. Now, each casino has some money lying underneath them, these cards depicting money. At the end of a round, when all players have, well, each time players put down their dice, after a while, of course, no players will have dice left anymore, so then we're going to see who has the most dice on each casino. Player with the most dice on a number of on a certain casino gets the money, the card with the most value on it of that casino. If 2 players have the same amount of dice, they cancel each other out, and well, maybe someone else gets the loot, because if someone, for example, has 4 dice, another player also, and one player has 1 die, well, the player with 1 die gets the money. It's really fun, it's a little bit push your luck, the decisions are really smart, because you have to see, will I throw 4 5s, will I put them all on this casino with number 5, but then I don't have that much dice left to battle somewhere else for the money. Really fun game, I really like it, very easy to teach, and it's always a success. Players always want to play this again immediately, and that's the deal. That's the great thing about gateway games. If you teach this game to someone, they immediately want to try this again. So that's my number 9, Las Vegas. My number 8 is a game that has been nominated for the Spiel des Jahres in 2013. It didn't win, but it is an awesome game. Still a little bit underrated, I think, but I really like it. And why this is a great gateway game, in my opinion, is that it uses a very, very familiar mechanic, and that's the mechanic of bingo. So, the game I'm talking about is Augustus, or in some parts of the world it's called Rides of Augustus. Now, in this game, well, the theme is very light, of course, because it's just, well, it's bingo advanced, you can say that. So, in this game, each player will have a certain number of objectives, like these cards here, and they have these symbols on the left side of them. Now, these symbols, you have a bag with tiles or tokens. In this, well, these symbols, they are on these tiles as well. So, people have these cards in front of them. One player is going to draw randomly from the bag, and he's going to say what's on the token, or he's going to put it on the table. And players are going to put their legionnaires, these meeples here, on one of the cards on the symbol of, well, of the drawn token. As soon as a player has put legionnaires on every symbol here on the card, he will shout "Ave Caesar!" or something like that, and will score the card. Now, scoring cards, these cards, they can do certain things. So sometimes they score you points at the end of the game. For this example, this is a green province, and at the end of the game, this one will score 2 points for each green province you have scored. very easy. Now, you have also cards that immediately do something, give you an extra legionnaire, or destroy a card from another player, make you score another card, let you put legionnaires on certain types of symbols. And during the game you also can get bonus cards. So if you are, for example, the first player to get 3 green provinces, you can take this tile, you score 4 points at the end of the game. Very simple, very easy. Who doesn't know bingo? Well, I know I do. And it goes really fast, very easy to teach. The first time people might forget the bonus cards, bonus tiles. They might be tempted to go for the stronger cards or the high scoring cards first, because they don't have the idea of which tiles are more common in the bag here. As you can see, you have 6 swords, but you only, for example, have 1 dagger here in the bag. So the high scoring cards might need one of those daggers, might be harder to get, and sometimes that's a little bit harder for newbies. But you play one game, they want to try again, and then they know what's going on and they will try to beat you. Really awesome game, one of my favorite gateway games, one of my favorite games actually. You can see in my top 50 of all time, very high rated for me. Augustus, my number 8. My number 7 is a game which is probably the most gamery game in this list. Well, it's not too hard, but it has some more things than the other 9 in the list. And why I chose this game to be on the list is because of its mechanic, deck building mechanic. Because a lot of games have it, but people who don't play modern board games or don't know them yet, they have never heard of deck building. What's deck building? So, the game that I use to teach people what deck building is Dominion. One of the first deck building games, maybe the first, and still one of the most popular ones because of its low entry level. So I advise you, if you want to teach this to someone, to take the base game, use the base cards. There is a first play proposition to use as for cards. So in this game there will be a number of cards in the middle of the table, a pile of cards. Now this is a Dutch version, so you might have the library in there, you might have the workshop, the village, and it's not really thematic, they all have their special things that they do. So each player draws a number of cards, and they can play the cards to try to buy cards, try to buy more money, because you need money to buy those higher point cards, which are of course more powerful, or you want to buy these victory point cards, these provinces for example, because at the end of the game, and that is when at 2 or 3, I forgot, 2 or 3 piles are completely sold out, or if one of the piles of victory points has run out. Now, why is this so easy? Because it's really straightforward. There's not that much you can do. Well, it's enough you can do, but it's pretty straightforward. You have cards that give you money, which buys you more cards. You have cards that do some action, give you more actions, let you draw cards, and that's it. At the end of the round, you discard everything you used, and you draw back up to 6. If the deck is empty, you shuffle your discard pile and you draw those cards again. Very easy to learn. It was my first deck building game. I taught this game to a number of people. They all liked it. We even have a couple that has more of this game than I do. They have a lot of expansions for it already because they liked it so much. So my number 7, Dominion, the mother of all deck building games and the perfect way to teach the mechanic of deck building to new gamers. My number 6, well, this one is a cooperative game, so you play together to beat a circuit or to reach a certain goal. And I have been doubting about this one because I really like Pandemic, and it was one of the first games that I played, so one of the games that really got me hooked on board games, to be honest. But I think Pandemic has one big problem, that this game, well, it still can have this problem, but it has it less in my opinion. And the game that I didn't pick was Pandemic. I already said that, I think, because you can have a more experienced player that will take control of everything. He will tell you what to do. Yeah, you might better go there, you might cure that one, if you go there you can do this. That's something you have a lot with Pandemic, to be honest. I really love the game, but that's something that can be annoying, especially for new people. They just sit there and, well, have no right to choose to do what they want to do. Now, the game that I picked for my number 6 is a very thematic game, and that's also awesome, because who doesn't want to be a firefighter once? And the game that as my number 6 is Flashpoint Fire Rescue. Now, Flashpoint Fire Rescue, well, yes, you can see on the cover, you are a fireman. Well, each player is a fireman, and you are trying to extinguish a fire in this house. So you have this board with a house or an apartment or whatever, because there are many expansions, which I think I have them all, I think, because I like this game so much. And, well, it is very easy. There are some victims in the house, or, well, there are probably victims, because they are tiles that are face down, and they might be false alarms. You heard something, there might be someone there. So you go inside of the house, you extinguish fires, and you pick up victims, you carry them outside, and after each player's turn, you roll some dice to see where the fire will spread. There will be smoke, there will be fire, there will be explosions. And if you fail to rescue, if there are 3 people that are dead or injured or whatever, you lose the game. If, there are these black cubes which stand for damaged walls. If too many walls get damaged, this structure is too weak and the building collapses and you lose the game. And this is so great. The team is fantastic, and this game is easier to just let other players do what they want to do what they think is right. So, are you going there for the victim? Are you going to extinguish some little bit of fire? Are you going to break open that wall to get through the wall to get to that victim faster? You, as a teacher of this game, can easily let people choose the things they do for themselves. It's so much easier than with a game like Pandemic. And of course you have the dog and the cat that has to be rescued, and there is nobody that lets the dog or the cat die because it's a dog or a cat. Honestly, I choose to rescue them as well, together with the redhead lady. Don't tell Elisa. Okay, so that's my number 7, one of my all-time favorite games, one of the best thematic cooperative games out there, and very good as a gateway game. Flashpoint Fire Rescue. My number 5 gateway game is a very small card game, and I don't think it's really popular because it's really easy. The name, spoiler, the name is the stupidest name in all history of board and card games. But this works as a gateway game. I'm talking about the game. How hard is it? Spiel wie langst du kannst is the German name. In Dutch it's Speel zolang je kunt. And in this game, which absolutely has no theme, looks awful, to be honest. Skulls on the background, and it has no sense. I have no clue why they did this. It's a family game. It's easy. It's a gateway game. Anyway, enough rambling. So, what's the goal of this game? Very easy. You have to, each player, you play this cooperatively, but you cannot communicate too much. So, on one side of the board, of the table, you have 2 cards going with the number from 1 to 99. So actually it's a number 1 and it wants to go up to 99. You have to put cards up to 99. On the other side, I'm not sure if I have the cards here immediately. Yeah, you have the opposite. So you want to go from 100 to 2. Players have some cards in their hand, which they cannot tell to the other players. And each round they have to play at least 2 cards on one of the 4 piles. Now, of course, you want to be as close to the number you start with, because you can always only go up or down, depending on which pile you choose. Now the fun thing is, if you have a card, for example, if you want to have to go from 1 to 99 here, and somewhere is the number 32, you can only play a card higher than 32. Unless you have a card that's exactly 10 less. Then you can put that one on top of it and you go lower again. Now this is really fun. Why? Because it's very easy. Really, you have to be able to count to 100 or downwards to 1 again. You cannot talk too much, so no king making or whatever it's called, so you don't have one player that takes control, but because they don't know what you have. And it's exciting because you want to get rid of all the cards in your hands. There is a draw deck as well, because you draw always back up to a number of cards depending on the number of players. And it's exciting, it's fun, it's very simple. It actually is so simple that it's a little bit crazy, but it works. This is one of the games that I've used the most to get new people to know other games, and it's so fast to explain and it's so easy to play. It's not easy to win always, so that's the challenge, that's fun. They immediately want to try again. If it didn't work, they have the feeling like, now I understand this game, I want to try this, let's win this game. Let's win the game. A really great game for gateway use, and it stays in my collection for that. It's not the best game out there, but it's really good as an introduction. The game, Spiel wie längst du kannst, or something like that. That was my number 5. My number 4, well, the game has always a discussion whether it is actually a game or if it is just an activity. Well, it's on Board Game Geek. We play it on the table, so it is a game. It is a board game, in my opinion. Again, a Spiel des Jahres winner. Really much quality here. And the game that I'm talking about this time is Dixit. If you haven't heard of Dixit yet, this is, you can call it an activity, but it's also a game in which each player has a number of cards in their hands. And the cards, well, they are one of the things that makes this an awesome gateway game, because people are just amazed by these cards, because these are these wonderful cards. The artwork is just fantastic, a little bit strange as well, but awesome artwork, and that's also the game. This artwork is the game as well. So players are looking at their hand. If it's their turn, they're going to choose one of the cards and they're going to give a clue. Now this can be a word, a sentence, they can sing something, they can make some noise, they can act out something, whatever, and they put it face down on the table. Now each other player will take their cards in their hand and will choose a card that they think might be, well, the clue that was given might be as well for this card, and they put it on the table as well. Everyone has chosen a card, the cards get shuffled and are put face up on the table. Now players are trying, well, except for the player who put the clue down, they are trying to guess which one the card was from the clue giver. If they manage to guess that, so they do this secretly. They have these tokens with numbers on it. The cards are numbered on the table. They put a number down. Everyone reveals at the same time, and we get to see whose card is whose. Of which. Sorry, English. If someone chooses the right card from the clue giver, they score points. If you weren't the clue giver, but people thought it was your card, you get points as well for having such a good card that matches the clue that was given. And the clue giver, he scores points whenever someone at least guesses his or her card, but not everybody, because if everybody guesses his card, the clue was too easy and you don't score any points. So very cool game. This one. Whenever I do this game days with friends that aren't gamers, and if I invite them, they always ask me to bring Dixit, because they love it so much. It is so fun, easy to teach, easy to play, Sometimes they have to get into it first, but after a game of Dixit, they are hooked. I can guarantee you that. My number 4 gateway game of all time at this moment, Dixit. My number 3. This is the game that when you put it on the table and you play a while and other people are passing by, there isn't one person that doesn't stop and look what this is all about, because it looks so cute, pretty awesome on the table that it just stands out and people want to know what it is. The game I'm talking about is Takenoko by Antoine Bauza. Wow, this is an awesome, beautiful, fun game, and especially great for new players. It has a little bit more meat to it than a lot of the previous ones I mentioned, but still it is really accessible. Now, what makes this game so special? The game comes with this piece here, the panda, together with the gardener. So in this game you are a gardener and there is a panda running around in that garden. And well, the panda wants to eat bamboo. So you have all these awesome pieces here, these bamboo pieces that can stack on each other. And you have these tiles on the table that you will put down on the table. It's a tile laying game as well. So you have all these tiles, these wonderful, beautiful tiles. And when you send your gardener to it, the bamboo will grow like this. And when the panda arrives there, he will eat bamboo. Now each player has a certain number of objective cards, and those we all have 3 different ones. One that wants to just to make you a pattern of a certain color of tiles. You can try to do that and switch course your points. You want the panda to eat a certain number of certain color bamboo pieces, or you want to grow bamboo in a certain way, certain height, like that, and that can score you points. So pretty straightforward, and it's probably one of the easiest games that has a kind of worker placement to it, because you have each round you have 2 actions. And you have 5 choices to do. You have your player board, 5 different actions you can take. And you have 2 of these wooden tokens which you can choose the actions with. So, not that hard, 5 actions, but it is an introduction to something called worker placement. And that's pretty cool about it. It looks awesome on the board. Now, if you are lucky and are a little bit more wealthy than I am, you can buy the deluxe version, which is a huge wooden box, and the panda is not this size, but is this size or so. So if you put that on the table, people go bananas. I can promise you that. An awesome game. It has some tactics to it, it has some strategy, you have to think what you do, but still, people who play this for the first time haven't got anything with modern board games yet. Because of how it looks, because it's not too hard, people will enjoy it and will be interested in learning more games or playing Takenoko multiple times. So that's my number 3, and it has the right to be at number 3, Takenoko. My number 2, whoa, we're getting there, we're getting to number 1. This is my number 2, and it is the newest game on this list. I've mentioned it a few times in previous videos, in previous episodes of All Aboard, I think, because I've been playing it quite a lot, because this is an awesome gateway game or an awesome in-between game if you want to play something light. The game is by Haba, and Haba is, well known for its children's game, these kids games with the yellow boxes, but last year they published a few family games, and this one, in my opinion, is the best of all of them. You also have Adventureland, which is pretty cool as well, might be a gateway game as well, I think, it can be used for that, but this one, Karuba, is perfect as a gateway game, and it is fun. Now, Karuba actually uses a little bit of the bingo mechanic as well. Why? Well, there will be one player, each player has a player board, all the same. You have 4 colors of meeples, of adventurers, of these expedition dudes, with a matching colored temple token. Now, at the beginning of the game, each player will have on their board, in the forest, one of the the parts. So you have these squares here. One of the places will have the temple in a color, and one of the beach spaces will have the adventurer, the explorer here. And well, you want to get your explorer to that same color temple. Now you have 4 colors, so you want to do that with 4 different explorers. And you do that by laying down tiles like this with a road on it. You have just straight rows, you have cross rows, you have these corners as well. Now one player will have their tiles face down in a pile or in stacks, so you don't know which tile is which. Other players will have their tiles open by number. The tiles are numbered like this. It's number 29, and well, player who has the cards face down will draw one of the tiles and will say the number. Now each player will take the same tile with the same number and is going to put it somewhere on their player board. Wherever they want. They cannot turn the tiles, they just have to put it with a number on top of it and lay it down. Now, some of these tiles have gold or diamond on it. If you lay down one of these tiles with gold or diamond, you put well, a token of that thing, and well, the tokens are high quality as well. So you have these gold nuggets here, or you have the diamonds. You can see it, they're small diamonds. So they can pick that up on their way to the temple if they manage to get on that tile with the gold or the diamonds. Now you also have to move your people, of course. So in a turn you can choose not to play the tile on your board, but you can discard the tile. You just count the number of exits on the roads on the tile. For these are have 2 exits. These have 3 exits. And the number of exits on the tile, that's the number of spaces you can move one of your explorers. Never more, but you can choose to go less far because you might want to end your movement on a tile with a golden nugget on it, and that gives you points at the end of the game. If you manage to get there first on a certain color of temple on your board, you score the bonus token of that color, and that gives you points at the end of the game. If you're second second player to get to a certain temple, you also get a token, but it scores you less points at the end of the game. The game ends as soon as someone reaches 4 temples, which doesn't happen too much. I saw it happen once. It was me, myself, and I. And bragging. Or if if players run out of tiles. If we got to all of the tiles, the game ends as well. You score points, well, with your diamonds, with your gold, and with the bonus tiles that I just shown you 2 seconds ago. That's the game, and it's awesome. Very easy, of course, to explain. So I'm going to draw a tile. We all take the number of the tile and we put it somewhere on the board. You want to make a road to the temples, and you want to move your explorers to the right temple. That's it. That's the game. Very easy, very light, but very, very fun. It is, at this moment, my favorite game of 2016. I know it was released last year, I just bought it this year, so it's the game that I've played most this year, I think, together with Quadropolis, which is not in this list, but which could work as a gateway game if you know people can manage a little bit more than a game like Karuba. Awesome game, I recommend it so hard. It's my number 2 gateway game, Karuba. Okay, that brings us to my number 1 gateway game. Now, not the best game out there, it's a fun game, really fun, I enjoy playing it, I don't mind playing it at all, but a lot of the games that I already mentioned are better games. Or also bigger games, because this game is a micro game, so that means not that much going on there, only a couple of cards, I think 18 cards if I'm not mistaken, or 16 cards in this game. And the game I'm talking about is Love Letter. This is my number 1 gateway game. I have had so much success with this one, to teach to people, to get to know them, that there are other games out there. Now, Love Letter, very simple concept. You have 16 cards in the game, 16. One is a princess, you want to get a letter to the princess. And each card, well, each type of card has their own special ability. Now, players will have one card in their hand, and when it's their turn, they're going to draw one card. So they have two cards in their hand, and they have to play one of them and do the action of that card. Now, what's the goal? Well, you have guards, for example. If you play a guard, you choose a player and you just guess which card he has in his or her hand. If you're correct, the other player is out of the game, and you keep playing until you are the last one standing. You have cards that can protect you, like the Chamberlain. I'm not sure, it's a Dutch version. But you have cards like the princess as well, and the princess, well, she's a high number, so at the end of the game, if all cards have been played, or if you cannot draw any more cards, then you're going to see the number on the card, and the highest number of the players that are still in the game. The player with the highest number wins. The princess is the highest number with an 8, but during the game you cannot play her, because as soon as you play this card or have to discard it by another card's effect, well, you lose and you're out of the game as well. So, very interesting. You have cards that let you see another player's card in his hand. You have cards that, well, you have to check which cards you both have, and highest card stays in the game, the lowest card is out of the game. You have cards that you can that you have to play if you have another certain card in your hand. It sounds a lot, but it isn't. It is very easy. And the cool thing also is that this is the original love letter with the princess, but you have a lot of different love letters already. I have a few of them, so if you have players that you know are fan of Batman, you can take the Batman love letter. Stupid, well, the game had a stupid title. Love letter Batman, a little bit strange as well, to be honest. You have these cool cards, a very different style of artwork here, which can be very interesting if you have people with other interests than sending a letter to the princess. Or if you have fans of The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, you can play the Hobbit version, which have Gandalf the Grey, that have Thorin Oakenshield. Now, they play almost completely the same. They might have one or two minor rule changes or other tokens. As you can see, in the original love letter you have these roses. If you win a round, you get a rose. If you reach a number of roses, then you win the game. With Batman, you have these cool bat symbols to collect. Now, this is my best gateway game. I never said it was the best game, but it is the best gateway game that, in my opinion, I have used in the past, and I've used it a lot. So, that's it. This was my number one. This was my top 10 games. Now, a few honorable mentions, maybe. Let me see. I had Splendor, for example, a really good game. A little bit deeper than the other ones. Maybe it's very easy, but still a little bit harder to explain or to get into. So that didn't make it. There was, let me see. I also had Camel Cup, which is pretty awesome. But I've noticed a few people don't get all the things you can do completely, so that didn't make it to the top 10. Codenames, of course, also an awesome game, very easy to learn, but some people have problems getting into it, giving the clues especially. Of course you have Mysterium as well, which is, well, the progression of Dixit, so I chose to take Dixit in this list. Let me see, did I choose some other things? Well, we have Illustrations is awesome, but I think that's more of a party game. I chose not to take too many party games. I choose Dixit for that. But Illustration is really awesome. Many people only get no Pictionary or something like that. So if you use Illustrations for it, a very good way to do so. Of course, there's also a game like Burgen van Burgund. No, just kidding. Many great games they're out there to teach other players, new players, but these are my 10 favorites. 11, I know. And well, that's it. Do you also have favorite games to use when you teach new players games, our great hobby of modern board games? Let me know in the comments. Do you think some games I've chosen here in this list are not really good as a game? Might be. Let me know down below. Feel free to thumbs up this video if you like. If you're not subscribed yet, shame on you! No, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to share this video. At recording of this video, we're almost at 400 subscribers, so we're growing steadily. I really like that. Thank you for all your comments, for all your thumbs up, for sharing it. Visit me on Twitter. I'm at Vitruvian Gamer. And well, I see you all in the next thing that I will do. Maybe there are more top 10s coming up. Who knows? Thanks for watching, and I see you all in the future. Bye bye. All aboard!